Have you ever gotten sick while traveling? I'll never forget the summer after our eldest daughter Mushka was born. Devorah and I were excited to take a little vacation. We drove up to Niagara Falls, checked into our hotel, and headed over to the falls. But before I knew it, I was feeling aches and pains and decided to lay down on the grass, leaving Devorah to take a stroll with Mushka. Yep, I had ruined our summer vacation plans. People often get sick when traveling due to the flow of air, change of weather, stress, change in diet, water, etc. It would be logical, therefore, to assume that when the Jewish people traveled in the desert, there would have been at least a few sick or weak people amongst them. Yet remarkably, in this week's Torah portion, Bamidbar, when it takes a tally of each tribe, it says, all who were fit to serve in the army, from which we learn that despite the fact that they were traveling through a desert, not a single Jew was ill or weak, and therefore unable to go to war. Every Jew was strong and healthy. But how was that possible? We are taught that when the Torah was given in the Sinai desert, just 7 weeks after the Exodus, any Jew who was previously sick or crippled was miraculously healed. And thanks to the protection of the clouds of glory, the Ananei HaKavod, every Jew remained healthy throughout the next 40-year journey to the Promised Land. This teaches us that through our connection to God and our commitment to the study of Torah and performance of mitzvot, which serve as our clouds of glory, we are able to tap into a source of infinite blessing for spiritual as well as physical health. Blessings so great that they can defy the laws of nature. A modern example of this is the miraculous liberation of the old city of Jerusalem and Temple Mount, which took place today on the Hebrew date of 28th of Iyar in 1967. At the time, Israel's fate was unstable, and dire predictions were being made about its future. Many people wanted to leave. Several days before the war began, in a public talk, the Rebbe reassured them that they had God's protection and would therefore be safe. And indeed, just a few days later, the world watched as Israel emerged in a miraculous victory that defied human logic. This was expressed moments after Colonel Matagur announced the famous words, Har Habayit Biyadenu, the Temple Mount is in our hands, with the blowing of the shofar and the soldiers singing together Yerushalayim Shel Zahav, Jerusalem of gold, and reciting the blessing, Shehechiyanu, thanking God for bringing us to this special moment. The clouds of glory in the desert were in the merit of Aaron, but after his passing, the clouds continued to bring us blessing in the merit of Moses, the leader of the Jewish people. In each subsequent generation, there was a Moses that led and inspired the Jewish people in matters of Torah and mitzvot, and provided encouragement, care, and blessings to them. A couple days ago, my dear friend Rabbi Eli Langzab, Chabad rabbi in Peoria, Illinois, shared with me his personal story about the medical advice and care his father received from our Moses, our Rebbe, Rabbi Schneerson. When Eli was 2 years old, it was discovered that he had a hernia and needed to undergo surgery. However, the doctors they had seen had different opinions as to which surgeon and medical center to use. So Eli's father wrote a note to the Rebbe asking for blessing and advice. The next day, his father went to 770 to see if there was an answer, and Rabbi Klein, one of the Rebbe's assistants, showed him the Rebbe's handwritten response, which was, B'chol hanal ka'atzas Dr. Feldman. In all the above, follow the advice of Dr. Feldman. And Rabbi Klein told him to go speak to Dr. Feldman at his office in the Bronx. His father was surprised by this instruction, since he already knew Dr. Feldman's opinion. But Rabbi Klein urged him to go to his office because the Rebbe and Dr. Feldman had discussed his medical concern. So his father went to Dr. Feldman's office, and the doctor told him that he happened to be discussing personal matters with the Rebbe when suddenly the Rebbe asked him, would you do me a personal favor? You know about this boy Langzam, who has a hernia? Please look into it and see if he can have the procedure done at the Schuldeis Hernia Hospital in Toronto, because they are the only hospital that performs surgeries for hernia without general anesthetic. Please contact them and ask if they can perform a local anesthesia for a 2-year-old toddler who may be restless. Then the Rebbe continued, and if it could be done, see if it could be scheduled for the 25th of the month of Sivan, because the family is going to be in Toronto anyway for a family simcha. His aunt was getting married at the time. And it's a shad of Yiddish geld, which means it would be a pity if the family would have to spend additional money for travel expenses. As my friend concluded, it is truly remarkable that with all his many hundreds of daily requests and busy schedule, the Rebbe not only made it his business to see this young child receive the medical care he needs, but he even took the family's schedule for an upcoming simcha and travel expenses into consideration. Friends, this Shabbat, we will bless the new month of Sivan and the upcoming holiday of Shavuot, the anniversary of the giving of the Torah, which will be celebrated this coming Thursday evening. It is also the last day of the Hebrew month of Iyar, the month of healing. May the Rebbe's love and care for others inspire us in ours. May our Torah study and performance of mitzvot continue to protect and bring miraculous blessings for good health for all who need, just as it did for our ancestors in the wilderness. And may we merit to the ultimate miracle, when nature itself will be transformed with the coming of Mashiach speedily in our days. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.